I talk to some of my key elders, and they will give good feedback about what they think the needs of the congregation may be. I think I've been maybe disappointing to some of our elders at times because they've, rightly, they said, we would love for you to preach on, speak about community in our congregation, or we sense a need to speak to marriages, and I'm open to that, I think, in theory. I feel like I can speak to the needs of the congregation best by going through a book. And whenever I've done here's a mini series on stewardship, which I know you got to do sometimes, or here I'm going to try to speak to community building in the church. It just feels artificial. I can't do preaching as vision casting. So my back and forth is pretty normal, just thinking Old Testament versus New Testament, different genre, history, poetry, Pentateuch, Gospels, pastoral epistles, not wanting to do back-to-back long series. So Joshua will be with some fits and starts for about 8 months. I did Revelation 52 sermons, so that took a year and a half. I've never done all of Romans, so that's the big kahuna. I don't know how long that would be. I think sometimes in our circles we think that it's a measure of faithfulness if we do extremely long sermon series. And I don't think we ought to feel that pressure. John did it very effectively with Romans, but I think if we think, all right, here comes Romans, and it's going to be the 8-year series, and I just got to do that or I'm not faithful. I took John, and actually I remember Don Carson saying, and I didn't take his advice, and I usually should have, but John's gospel has so many of the same themes over and over again. I kind of wish I had taken it a little faster than I did, even though there's so much you can camp out in. So you live and learn a little bit, and you just try to balance. I try to balance Old Testament, New Testament, different genres, different lengths.
Yeah, I agree with all of that. I don't think I have any confidence whatsoever that I made right choices. Everything I ever preached is online. You can study and see what I left out. I never preached a sermon, not one, on the Song of Solomon. Not a single sermon. I think I preached a series on Jonah and one sermon on each of the minor prophets and a few other Old Testament series, some are Psalms, but almost everything in the New Testament. So whether that was wise or not, I would guess that the explanation of that is we gravitate to where we feel at home and where we feel fruitful, where we feel like we're moving people, where we feel like we're building people and teaching rich, solid truth. And, all those illustrations that he gave from Joshua or those other texts this morning sounded like, be bold, be strong, be more faithful, whatever. And I said, I like that, but I don't do that very often. I want them to believe like in total depravity when they're done, or believe in the limited atonement when they're done. I want to get across things that they don't get any other way. So I don't know if that's right or not. So you pray, you talk to your elders. Just one closing illustration. So I finished Romans, 8 years, with a lot of breaks in between. And I said to the elders, where do you want me to go next? Let's do a survey. Give a piece of paper, write down where we should go next. Put your preference. And there were 3. Talk about marriage, talk about the new birth, and talk about the Gospel of John. And I did all 3. I did a series on marriage, it's in a book. I did a series on the new birth, it's in a book. And I got through John 14 and quit the pastorate. And I took 4 years to get through 14 chapters. I wish I could finish, but that's not going to happen probably. So I just did what they said. That was the way I decided. Yeah.